माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी. You know to chant prayers? Okay, repeat after me. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for the Bhagavad Gita class for this evening. So we are discussing chapter 2nd, shloka number 53. So I'll first recite, then you all can recite. Okay. Shruti vipratipanna yada sthayasti nischala samadhau achala buddhi tad yogam avapsyasi. You would like to recite?
Shruti viprati punnate yada yasthayasati nischala samadhavo chala buddhistada yogam vapyasyasi.
Recite once again together. Shruti vipratipannate. You can recite after me. Shruti vipratipannate yada sthayasti nischala samadva achala buddhi tada yogam avyapsyasi. Shruti vipratipannate yada sthayasti nischala samadva achala buddhi tada yogam avapsyasi. Shruti Vipratipannate
Shruti Vipratipannate
Yada Sthahyasti Nishala
Yada Sthasya Nishtala
Samadva Achala Buddhi
Samadhavachala Buddhi
Tada Yogam Avapsyasi.
Tada Yogam Avapsasi.
So we'll read now the word to word translation and purport given by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai. Shruti
Shruti
of the Vedic revelation.
of Vedic revelation.
Vipratipanna
Vipratipanna
without being influenced by fruitive results.
without being influenced by fruitive results.
Te
They,
your
your
Sthaistyasti
Sthasthiti
remains.
remain
Nischala
Nishtala,
unmoved.
unmoved,
Samadhav
Samadha
in transcendental consciousness or Krishna consciousness.
in transcendental consciousness or Krishna consciousness.
Achala
Achala,
unflinching.
unflinching,
Buddhi
buddhi,
intelligence.
intelligence,
Tada
tada,
at that time
at that time,
yogam
yoga,
self-realization.
self-realization,
Avapsyasi
avapsisi,
you will achieve.
you will achieve.
When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas and when it remains fixed in the trance of self realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Purport. To say that one is in samadhi is to say that one has fully realized Krishna consciousness. That is, one is in full samadhi, has realized Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. The highest perfection of self realization is to understand that one is eternally the servitor of Krishna and that one's only business is to discharge one's duties in Krishna consciousness. A Krishna conscious person or unflinching devotee of the Lord should not be disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, nor be engaged in fruitive activities for the promotion to the heavenly kingdom. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into communion with the Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. One is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. Very wonderful purport by Srila Prabhupada. So, there are a few important things here. So, firstly, you see in the translation, Prabhupada is writing that no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas. What do you understand by the flowery language? Any idea? Flowery language. Okay, in general sense, when we say, it's a flowery language, that goes to show what? It basically says that, somebody is flattering or, somebody is talking something which is actually not of your interest, basically. Although it looks sweet, but it actually is not of your interest, right? That is flowery language. So this is a very important shloka because it is almost at the juncture. So initially what has happened in the Bhagavad Gita, the armies have been arranged, Kaurav army and Pandav army, okay? And then Arjuna requests that please take my chariot in between the army. I want to see who all have come to fight with me. Krishna takes him in the middle of the battlefield. Then he shows, there is Drona, there is Bhishma, there is all these sons of Dhritarashtra, namely Duryodhana and Dushashana and all these people. So basically, he is very perplexed. And in this chapter, he is almost on the verge of fainting, seeing that he has to fight with his own kinsman, with his own family member, just to get a kingdom. So he is saying Krishna that why should I fight? So he lists out various reasons that why he should not fight. He says that, what is the use of gaining such kingdom when I will not have people to enjoy with, right? And then he says, even if I enjoy this, I will not be able to share with anyone. So there is no point of enjoyment. And on top of it, I'll have to kill my own family members, extended family members, which is very, very gruesome, right? And if all this and this war, there are so many people. There were akshonis of armies. Akshonis mean crores of armies actually in the Kurukshetra. So many men will be destroyed. So the woman will be unprotected, right? So those who are unscrupulous people, those who are mischievous people, they will try to take advantage of this and they will try to pollute women. So this will in turn give destructions to the family traditions and to the entire society in whole. Gives us various reasons. And Krishna, one by one, is trying to answer his queries, his 5-6 queries that he has raised. And he has raised in this chapter only, that we have been discussing all these days. Now, here, first Krishna says that, well, why are you worrying? See, if you lose this battle, namely you will die, right? And in the Vedas, in the Vedic times, the wars were fought between the armies. So it was not like civil war now, the typical Kali Yuga war, where the aircraft, the air force first will come and then it will destroy the city and then the wars will be fought on the borders. It was not like that. People were peacefully living, and those who were Kshatriyas, they would go and fight and finish off their business. So that's why those who were dying on the war, they will get directly heavenly planets. Heavenly planets you get after performing so many pious activities, so many yajnas or anything. But here, if you fight a war and you die, you go to the heaven, right? If you lose, you go to heaven, and if you win, you enjoy the kingdom. He says in this chapter only, hato va prapsyasi swargasya jitva bhokshasi ye mahim. Tatha that's why the Yuddha Krita Nishchaya, that O Arjuna, if you die, you will achieve heaven. If you win, you will achieve this kingdom, undisputed kingdom. So anyway, there is no loss to you, right? But then Arjuna's question is that what is the use of this? I will fight and kill so many people, and then what I will achieve by just having, I will enjoy my own kingdom. That's not possible, right? Like, it's general thing. When you have something like you have a car or you have a bungalow or whatever, some possessions. So you want to show to people, right? That come see, I have achieved this, and see, I'm so great. So he's saying, what is the use if there is nobody to enjoy with? So better than I don't fight and I go to forest and take a sannyas. What is the use of such fight? So Krishna says you will not achieve self-realization by going like this, because you are turning away from your duties. You are running away from your duties. So for you as a Kshatriya, you will make spiritual advancement only by fighting. Then Arjuna is confused that by fighting I will achieve spiritual realization. That is something really different, right? What we hear, that those who are sadhus, those who are spiritualists, they leave the world. They go to Himalayas or they go to some ashram or some forest or something, and to perform tapasya and to meditate. You are saying that I have to perform my duty and that will help me achieve my, spiritual progress. That's what is confused. So that's where he's answering now. So this is the point where he's stopping like this. So Prabhupada in purport is saying that to say that he's starting with the word samadhi. So he's saying you will achieve samadhi only by fighting this war, not by going to the forest. Isn't it interesting? That is the purpose of Gita. So Gita doesn't say people to run away from their duties. It actually makes people more responsible, right? So flowery language of the Vedas. So one may say, so is it that Krishna is condemning Vedas? Flowery language of the Vedas, right? Is he condemning Vedas? What do you think? When he's saying that when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, you will have divine consciousness. So what he's saying basically, is he condemning Vedas? No. Why? Because Vedas are like mothers. So in our Vedic life it is said that Vedas are mother and our Guru is a father. So when this mother and father come together, basically Vedas and Guru come together, then there is a birth of a spiritual being. So we have one birth, which is a biological birth from our parents, and then we have Dvija. We are twice born. When we take shelter of one guru or spiritual master, to get knowledge from him. What is good for me, what is my dharma in my particular, at the point of time. So that is our second birth. So that is what is called as Dvija, twice birth. So Vedas are like mothers, and why? So yes, there is in fact, the Vedic literature is filled with dhanam dehi, janam dehi, putram dehi, all this stuff. You do this, you will get family. You get sons. You do this, you will get lot of riches. You do this, you get lot of property. So there are various karma kanda section in the Vedas mentioned like that. So why they are mentioned? It is not mentioned for a people to distract. Those who are sincere, they will not be interested in that. So Vedanta Sutra says, which is the culmination of all the Vedas, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So now is the time, because you are a human being, you should inquire about what is absolute truth. But not all are interested in that. So what happens is, they will go to some sadhu babas, some what is it, Ashirwad babas. They will give some money and you give us some Ashirwad. So what is happening, or else Srila Prabhupada in one of his books writes that previously, if people want to get riches, let's say, if we, we see Maharaj Dashrath, he was not having son, so he wanted to get son, he performed yajna, right? And we have many such examples like that. So if you want to get something, you first come to Vedas, and you first at least agree that there is some higher being, without whose sanction I cannot get my things, that what I desire, right? That was the idea. Here what is happening nowadays, this is this dark age of Kali Yuga. What has happened? See, you want money, you come to the factories, you earn, or you come to Bangalore, you come to IT city, and you work hard like 12 hours, 14 hours a day, you get money, right? But here there is no concept of any higher being or higher reality, so that's why Vedas are mentioning all these things, not to distract people, rather than to take those people also who are simply interested in sense gratification, those who are not interested in spiritual life, but they are interested in sense gratification. So Vedas provide a propensity for them as well, that okay, you come, you perform this activity. So you want a good husband, so you pray Lord Shiva. You want a good wife, you pray Lord Parvati. And you want like auspiciousness, you pray Lord Ganesha, like that. So whatever you find, you don't go anywhere else. You just come here and agree that yes, there is some higher reality, there is some higher being, there are some higher powers, without whose sanction I will not be able to get my possessions in the life. So in that way, people at least will not become atheists. Like, people are working in factories and software companies, and they are saying, well, there is no God. The result is they are from there also they are getting all the possessions and the riches, but the result is there is no conception of God consciousness, or at least submission to the higher beings. So once you do that, so Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanvaman Prapadyante Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. So once you follow Vedas, and in that mood you just follow Vedas and understand that there is some higher reality, so gradually you will progress. That what is the use of, at some point you will realize that ultimately I have to die, and my account becomes zero. It's a big zero at the end. So there is a story of this great king, the Alexander. You have seen Alexander, you must have heard, right? Sikandar they call in Hindi. So Alexander, when he was dying, he was, about to die, maybe the day before, because he was very sick. Yes, the historians have differences, but what people say mostly is his army, including himself, was affected by the malarias in India. When he came to conquer India, first he was kind of defeated on the northwestern frontier by Puru or Purushottam, and then he was affected by all these mosquitoes of India, and because of that he could not conquer India. So Alexander the Great, Indian mosquitoes the greater. They can defeat Alexander. So when he was about to die, and his doctor said you may not survive a day or so. So what he said, he called all his principal chiefs, and he said, what you do when I die. So what you do, you should take my body in a procession with my hands raised like this. I should not be put like this. My hand should be raised like this. So they said, "Well, why you want to do like that?" He said, "I want people should know that I wanted to be Alexander the Great. I wanted to be Alexander the Great, conquer all over the planet. But see, at the after death, what I am getting is empty hands. I am simply not able to take even a single penny. What to speak of the whole planet? So people should realize from my example, and they should not waste their life simply for chasing these things of this material world. Yes, the things are required. We have a material body. For its sustenance, we require certain things. That's all. Apart from that, as a human being, our primary duty is to understand who we are, why we have come to this material world, and why we are suffering. So, do you go to the temple and pray, "Please God, I'm very happy, just give me some suffering"? Does anybody do that? Nobody does it. But you get pains in your life, right? You get sufferings in your life. Why? Why you get sufferings in your life? So once you starts asking these questions, you become more attentive, more inquisitive. Vedas have Bhagavad Gita also. Vedas have Ramayana also. There you see, who you are and what is your relationship. But those who are not interested in that, they are simply interested in sense gratification. For them, Krishna is saying flowery language of the Vedas. So basically, why people are attracted to the flowery language? Because they have anarthas. Anarthas means Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsarya. Because they have these things in their heart, that's why they are attracted to, flowery language of the Vedas. To the degree you are free from all these anarthas, to that degree you will have higher inquiry. That, who am I? Why am I suffering in this material world? I never wanted suffering, but it is coming again and again and again and again. So why am I born again? And this Shankaracharya says, Punarapi Janamam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jatari Sharanam. Again and again, I am born, like I'm guess. So where we say happy birthday, somebody is born, yeah, that's good to that extent. But actually, birth is a very big suffering. You ask some gynecologist, you are like, you are sacked in one bag and you are twisted upside down for 9 months. Actually, in Vedas, in Srimad Bhagavatam, this is 5th canto. 3rd canto, Kapil Muni describes all the progress of the body. So basically, so scientists have found out now that exactly matches with what we actually see in our sonography and anything. So that is described how the fetus develops. First there is some lump of flesh, and then gradually the head appears, then arms appears, then eyes appears, then nose appears. So exactly which month what organ develops, that entire thing in detail is given in Bhagavatam Canto 3. So imagine, and people call this as mythology. These things have been written thousands of years back when there were no so-called instruments to actually see through sonography what is happening. Now they are seeing, they are putting this information. But previously, these literatures have described, in 7 months the ear develop, and in 3rd month this hand develop. Everything in detail is described. So, and in that, at the end, he says it's a very, very painful thing for a jiva, actually, to be in that condition. So imagine yourself, you get locked in one room for 9 months. How you will feel? And that is not even a room. It is just a sack. Just a sack. So actually, after describing all these, Kapil Muni says that actually Jiva prays intensely to the God Vishnu. Please get me out of this. I am so much, troubled in this condition. Please get me out. I'll become your devotee. But what happens? He comes out, happy birthday to you, and then he forgets God. And he starts his all activities in Maya, like that. So that's where, if somebody is not interested in spiritual life, so Vedas give some facilities. Okay, you come and you do this puja, you do this tapasya, you do this vrata, and you do this japa, you will get what you want. At least you are agreeing that yes, there are some higher beings, there are some higher powers to whom I have to submit, and after that only I will get what I desire, like that. So that's why he's saying that he's not condemning Veda in itself. He is condemning the people who are having these desires. So what he's saying, when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in trance, so why the mind becomes disturbed? Because of these material desires. Why? Because of these material desires. And he says, To say that one is in samadhi is to say that one has fully realized Krishna consciousness. So what we have idea of samadhi, what do you think? What is samadhi? What is samadhi? Om Shanti Shanti. Is it not? We see some light will be coming from our head, and we'll be sitting like this, and Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is samadhi.
Calling the inner self.
Sorry?
Calling the inner self.
Calling the inner self, yes. But what is our inner self? Here Prabhupada is describing, yeah. So in purport, Prabhupada is describing that one is in full samadhi, has realized Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. So Supreme Lord who is called Allah in some religion, God in some religion, in Bhagwan in our Vedas, he is having both personal and impersonal aspect as well. Some religions say, well, you cannot have a form of God, because how can you bound the form in God? How can you bound God in one form? But to say that God cannot have form is to say that God is having some limitation, right? When we say that God cannot have a form, that means you are saying that there is something which God cannot have. That means He is not God. Right? God is God. Yes, He is all powerful. He is all merciful. He is all attractive. So yes, He has impersonal form. We say, when people say that, well, God doesn't have a form. Yes, He doesn't have a form like you and me, which is made up of mucus, bile, urine and stool. God has a form which is Divya and Chinmaya. And great personalities, great sages have mentioned about it. Even Quran mentions when Prophet saw first God, he saw the back of the God, and it mentioned Quran. It is mentioned that he saw the color of the body of the God is bluish. It's mentioned in Quran. So yes, God has form. So Krishna is saying, Srila Prabhupada is saying that samadhi means not that you just sit and you expect some light in your head. Samadhi means you realize God in Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. So what is Brahman? It is the Sat feature of the Lord. What is Sat? Sat means which is ever existing. Like we as Atma, we will never die. In fact, we are actually Atma. We will never die. We will continue to exist, no matter what happens. So that realization is called as Brahman realization. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I am Brahman. It's like, to give you an example, like let's say you are going from Bangalore to maybe, I don't know, Mumbai, and you have booked some berth in, let's say, first AC in some train. Okay? So you say it is my berth, right? It is my berth. So when you get down at the station at Mumbai destination, do you get that berth itself? No, right? Although you say it is my berth, but it is given to you for a certain period of time for a certain purpose. But you are not that. So saying it's very easy. Like when we say, I am stuck in traffic jam. Boss, you are not stuck in traffic jam. Your car is stuck in the traffic jam. Right? We say, this is my hand. This is my leg. This is my eyes. These are my eyes. These are my fingers. But who am I? Who am I? Yes. So see, talking like this is very easy. But realizing takes time. It takes sadhana. It takes study of the scriptures. It takes associating with people who are living this life, to know from them how they have realized this. So yes, logically we can conclude like this. Yes, these are my hairs. This is my jacket. This is my body. That means body is not me. This is my body. That means I am something different. Like somebody is dead, the body is still there. Who has gone? Who has passed away? That is spirit, soul, Atma. So that realization will come only after sadhana. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, so one of the aspects of samadhi is to understand that we are Atma. We are Atma. Yes, theoretically it is very simple to analyze like this. But actually when we realize that we are Atma, we will be literally fearless. Socrates, you all have heard about Socrates, the great Greek philosopher, right? So when he was given poison, he was preaching. Basically, it is some of the historians have also concluded that he came to India and he got this knowledge of Atma, soul from here, and he was preaching in Greece. And people couldn't realize what he's talking, and they thought him as a threat. So the king ordered that he should be killed by giving him the poison. So the poison was brought to him, and then he took the poison and he said, first, at least you find who am I, then you can kill me. That's what Socrates says. And Srila Prabhupada says he was self-realized. He had realized that I am not this body. So he said, first, so all these soldiers know who had come to kill him. So he said, at least first find who am I. Then only you can kill me. You people are in such ignorance that you don't know who am I. So how can you kill me? He said, see, I take this poison, and just took the glass and took the poison. He said, I will still continue to exist. You cannot kill me. Like that. And that's how he died. So that is one aspect of self-realization. That is Atma. To realize that one is Atma. That is Brahman realization. Paramatma, how to realize Paramatma is God is present everywhere. That is what is called as Paramatma realization. God is present. So in Brahma Samhita, Brahmaji says, Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So God is present even in an atom. Krishna says, I am bigger than the biggest and smaller than the smallest. That is God. In God, all the contradictions resolve. He is bigger than the biggest, mightier than the mightiest, and is smaller than the smallest also. So God is present in every atom. That's what is mentioned in the Vedas. So imagine, if you realize this, will you ever commit any sinful activity? It's not possible. Because one way of seeing like this is, yes, God is present everywhere. The other way is, God is also watching me everywhere, from everywhere. So where can you hide and do sinful activity? It is simply not possible. So these Britishers, when they came to India, and there were some people called Indologists. So their specific job was to study Vedas, not to get self-realization, but to break faith of Indians in Vedas. That was their job. There were Indologists, these Macaulays and all these people. So what they would say, well, what is your theory of karma? So you have performed some bad karma in the past life. Now you are getting result in this life. It doesn't match only. Who is the witness? Who has seen that you have performed bad karma? Because of that, you should get a reaction for that. Or vice versa. You have performed a good karma and you should get a result of that. Who is the witness? Veda says, God is a witness. He is Paramatma. He is watching everywhere. You can cover yourself in the dense forest where there is not even a ray of sun. But still there also God is watching you. Because He doesn't need sun and moon for His light. He is already all self-sufficient. He is self-illuminate. He is Divya Chinmaya. He doesn't need any external light. So you may hide yourself and do some activities which are immoral or which are not good for you as a human being as well. But you may say, well, who is watching? So you can escape, you can do murder, you can do all crimes, and you can escape state laws, country laws, but you can never escape God's laws. And sure you will get punishment. Sure for sure. See, some people are born with some diseases, like some people are born in poor families, in places where there is, difficulty to eat also. Who decides that? Who decides that? There are some people who are born in a one-town country where to get food even once a day is difficult, right? I don't need to give examples. Now the situation is like that. The world situation is like that. It's very easy to understand. So, but who is deciding all this? It's based on the karma. A child is born with some diseases. You have seen there are children who are born with disease like cancer. Who gave them the cancer? Yeah.
So just before 5 minutes, you were telling us that to identify ourselves.
Yeah.
How we can identify ourselves? Meditating.
Yes. Yeah, that part we will be coming in our future discussions. And how that realization will come? How that realization will come that we are Atma? First, at least understand what are the aspects of Samadhi. So one aspect is that you realize I am the Atma. The other aspect is, and there is God and who's watching me all around. 24/7, 365 days. Right? That is one aspect. And then there is Bhagavan. So once you understand this Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, all these three, then only you are in proper Samadhi. So what is Bhagavan? Bhagavan means there is supremely independent personality who is called as God by some, Allah by some people, and we call him as Bhagavan. So he is the source and maintainer of everything. and it is my duty to serve him because I am dependent on him. Now, do you ask oxygen? No, right? Do you ask sunlight? Do you ask the grains? He is anyway supplying it. Whose Prakriti is this? Whose Shakti is this? This is the Shakti of Shaktiman. We never ask proper, see, we only pollute air, we only pollute water, we only pollute environment. But who has given us this environment? Who has given us this wonderful land from which a lot of grains and fruits and vegetables are coming? We have only polluted by creating this artificial economy of meat eating, where you have to cultivate this what is it, the what you call, see, you want to have chicken, so you have to give them some fodder or goat or whatever. So we have created, God has not created this. Without our asking, He is supplying what is required from us. In Ishopnishad, it says that Ishavasham idam sarvam yat kinchim jagatyam jagat tena taktena munjita ma grihat katsa siddhanam. Ishavasham idam sarvam. Everything belongs to God. Ishavasham idam sarvam yat kinchim jagat tena taktena munjita. So whatever is your quota, you should take that. You should not take what is not. Now, how do we decide what is our quota? Krishna has given. What is our quota in terms of eating, in terms of living, in terms of so eating, sleeping, everything is defined in the Vedas. As a human being, what is your quota? But our problem is, no, we want to create roads, we want to create factories, we want to create industries, we are disturbing other living beings. So the reaction has to come. Reaction has to come. There cannot be peaceful society because you are disturbing the peace of others. Right? Reaction has to come. So that's where the realization of Bhagwan comes. That I am Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. That actually the eternal religion of a Jiva or Atma is to be servant. Now Jiva has to decide it wants to be the servant of God or it wants to be the servant of his own senses, mind and senses. So what is, see, dharma is when it is translated as religion, it is actually not a proper translation. Sometimes what happens, because of the barrier of the language, you are not able to fully translate the message the way it should be. So what is dharma? Dharma is what is your position. Like, what is the dharma of sugar? To be sweet. Can you separate sweetness from the sugar? It's just not possible. Similarly, we as jivas or atma, our dharma is to be servant. We are servants. God is master. He is our father. We are his servants. That is our position. You just cannot change it. You just cannot remove service from the jiva. Just like you cannot remove sweetness from the sugar or saltiness from the salt, you cannot remove service from the jiva. So, okay, you don't want to serve God, you serve your mind and senses. But you have to serve. Prabhupada used to say, you don't want to serve God, you serve dog. You have seen people taking dogs in their street, taking their potties. At least in India, there is not rule, but in US, you have to carry the dabba. So, doing potty, you have to take and you have to preserve it and throw it properly. In India, at least things have not that degraded somehow. But then, if you don't want to serve God, you serve. But you have to serve somebody. You just cannot remain yourself without service. Service means reciprocation, right? For a service, there has to be two people, right? You cannot serve yourself. So that's where the nature of the Atma is. You are servant. Now it is your choice whom you want to serve. You want to serve God or you want to serve your mind and senses. But you have to be the servant. You cannot be the enjoyer. Like that. So once you realize in all these three aspects, then only you can achieve samadhi. Otherwise it's not possible. Right? Now, but how to get that? How to get that samadhi? Here he's saying, you see, in Krishna consciousness, one comes directly in communication with Krishna. Thus, all direction from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. Your question. How one will come to samadhi? So, when you are sincerely, seriously engaged in sadhana means chanting God's names. So, why we emphasize chanting God's name? Because that is the Yuga Dharma of this age. कली को केवल नाम आधारा सुमिर सुमिर नर उतर ही पारा. हरे नाम एव केवलम कलौ नास्तेव दतिर अन्यथा. There are n number of Vedic quotations to say that in this age there is no need of all this meditation and everything. Just chant the name of the Lord attentively. Chant and hear attentively Lord's names. So what will happen? Because of that, you come directly in communication with Krishna. And thus all the directions from Krishna may be understood in that direction. So you were saying, right, to see within. So God will give you direction within. So when you are doing some bad activity, it is God. You say, no, my inner conscience is not allowing me. What is that inner conscience? That is God inside you. You're saying, no, you should not do this. It is bad. It is harmful for you. You should not do this. If you are sincerely taking shelter of God by chanting His holy names, God will reciprocate with you and He will give you proper directions. And that is not only mentioned in the Vedic literature. You see Christianity, what they do? They chant on the rosary beads. You see Islam, what they do? They chant on the beads 99 names of Allah. You see Sikhism, Sat Nam Vaheguru. What they do? Kirtan, chanting. So, all the bona fide religions talk about chanting. All the bona fide religions of the world. It's not that ISKCON is emphasizing on chanting. It's not that ISKCON. All the bona fide religions are chanting. They may say, well, like, Allah, God, Krishna, the names may differ. Like sun, somebody may call Surya, Suraj, or sun. But the object is same. The object is one, and some people are calling it with different names based on their understanding. Right? So that is how one will achieve samadhi. How one will achieve samadhi? Once one is sincerely doing his sadhana, and from that he will get the direction from the God within, what is good, what is bad, how you should conduct your life, and with that and with proper conscious study of the Vedic scriptures, you will realize this, and then you will be, what is that? Samadho achala buddhis. Chala means, chala means chanchala. It is flickering. Okay, sometimes you are chanting, sometimes mood nahi hai. Sometimes, abhi mood ho raha hai, we will chant. Sometimes, no. When you are sincerely doing it, your mind will be fixed. That is the biggest benefit. Krishna says, for one who has conquered his mind, bandhur atmas manastasya. For one who has conquered his mind is the greatest of friend. And one who has not conquered his mind is the greatest of enemy. Right? So once you conquer your mind by doing sadhana, your mind will tell you, okay, let me go to the temple, let me take darshan of the Lord, let me partake in His kirtans, let me read His books that He has written us, that He has given for us, let me chant His names. All these directions will come. And you may say, well, how it is possible? I am busy with so many things. No. Krishna consciousness or God consciousness does not demand your useful time. It demands your wasteful time. You will anyway waste it somewhere else. Anyway waste it. It's not that we are saying that you are doing 8 hours of job, now you do 5 hours of job and you do bhakti or sadhana. You are not saying like that. 8 hours of job, I am also working in a multinational software company. But I am also doing daily at least 3 hours of sadhana. So, you yourself will realize where I am wasting my time. Why should I waste my time here? Instead, I should invest it in my self-realization, in my God consciousness. Yes.
So, as you said, you are working in a multinational company, software company. This spirituality power, how it will enhance or how it will help in our corporate life or materialistic life?
See, that is a byproduct.
How?
Okay. See, it is like those who are doing yoga, they get so many powers, but that is a byproduct. The ultimate aim is yoga means they should connect themselves with the God. So that is one path. We are emphasizing on bhakti path by serving God and by chanting His holy name. The byproduct comes, see, it's not that we need, see, in this world, what we need to understand properly is what is good, what is bad. We most of the time waste our energy, our resources, our abilities on wasteful things. Once you know what is good for you, as a soul, not as a human being, as a soul. Of course, human beings has as a soul. The subset is, yes, your bodily needs will be taken care of. So Krishna is not saying, so Arjuna here was saying that I will go to the forest and become sannyasi, but he says no, you be a kshatriya and rule, do the duty, that is your service, like that. So that is taken care. So once you realize what is good, what is bad, you will stop wasting your time and you will be more focused. You will be more razor. So the function of intelligence is to discriminate what is good, what is bad. Once you get that, people will not be able to mislead you. People will not be able to take your valuable time. And that's where you will be more focused, you will be more productive. And that's how it will help. Does that answer your question?
So spirituality का by product materialistic earning होता है, ऐसा माना जाता है ना?
Yes.
तो
It,
how it is? तो spiritual में तो मतलब materialistic का मतलब मोह नहीं रखना चाहिए, materialistic नहीं, सिर्फ spiritual करो, ऐसा कुछ होता है ना?
exactly. So I'll give you the example like this. Here Arjuna is also fighting war. Duryodhana, Karna were also fighting war. Who won? Arjun. Why? Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partha Dhanudhara.
तत्र श्री
That Vishaya- Why? Wherever there is Krishna, there will be victory. Right? So victory is anyway byproduct. Arjuna never wanted it. Arjuna never wanted that I should be victorious. Rather, the other party wanted, and they did all means. Killed a 16-year-old boy by surrounding him with 7 Maharathis, fighting a 16-year-old boy, killing him brutally. That's where Krishna also started his nitis. Okay, now you have broken the principles, no? We will do better. So Krishna says, when you are cheater, no, I am better cheater than you. When you want to cheat, I will be better cheater than you. So that's where he killed all his people through deceit only. So here Arjuna was also fighting, Duryodhana was also fighting. So externally, if you see, if you remove Krishna consciousness from Arjuna, they both are doing the same activity. How do you differentiate between them? What better Arjuna was doing that made him victorious and made him to be remembered for generation to come? That was his Krishna consciousness or his absorption in the service of God. So he didn't want the kingdom to enjoy. He wanted the kingdom to establish dharma. That was the difference between Duryodhana and Yudhishthir. So Arjuna, yeah, of course, he's the chief, but ultimately king was Yudhishthira. Right? Arjuna, of course, he was the chieftain of Yudhishthir. So, but whenever it was king, so it was either Yudhishthir or Duryodhana. So, what was the difference between them? So we will also be active in our professional thing. If you are student in our studies, if in your professional thing will be, but there the purpose is they want to. So the materialistic people want to glorify themselves to be promoted, but the spiritualist, they want to glorify God, right? So whenever there will be like Shri APJ Abdul Kalam, so whenever there will be opportunity, he will speak about God consciousness, and he was a regular reciter of Vedas, and because I'm an aeronautical engineer coming from an aviation background, I know in circles of ISRO and HAL he was called as Kalam Iyer. His nickname was Kalam Iyer. Although he was a Muslim, he was pure vegetarian. And he was regular student of Vedas, and that he learned from Vikram Sarabhai. So that differentiates. So you will also be working. They will also be working. But how you are better? Because you are not doing simply for yourself. You are doing it to glorify God. Like that. That is the difference, and that will make you more successful. Does that answer your question? So I think it's time. Anybody else? Any other questions?
I have one question.
Yeah.
So, little back earlier you mentioned that God has given everything for everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
And it is us human who create imbalance and disturb the nature, like by creating like meat eating and everything. So, like if you look at the evolution of humans, we have been evolved as a omnivore. Like from very early on, like God only created us as an omnivore. So how do you say that then we are disturbing the balance by meat eating or like the creating a system which is disturbing?
Yeah, that's a very good question. See, you said that we have evolved as omnivores. So basically you are referring to Darwin's theory of evolution, right?
Yes.
Yes. But you will be shocked to know in many of the states of USA, Darwin theory is banned. Because it doesn't have a, it doesn't have a basis. It's some hypothesis. It is some hypothesis. Oh, there was some monkey then some apes, then Homo sapiens sapien, Homo neanderthal, and I don't remember. I'm not expert in that field, but somewhat I remember from my school days, and that's how we become. That's what he's saying, but that's not the fact. Prabhupada used to say, well, according to Darwin, his father is a monkey. But my father is not a monkey. I come from God. So in Bible it says that man is made in the image of God. So we have various books where we will scientifically proving you that, see, some examples I can give, but we have a very detailed analysis that this human body is fit for a vegetarian diet. Human bodies is most healthy in the vegetarian diet. And so you may say, well, vegetables are also plants, so you're killing them. So we not only stress on vegetarianism, we stress on trans-vegetarianism. That means whatever so Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Me Bhakta Prayachyati. Patra is leaf, Pushpa is flower, Phala, Toyam means the milk product. So you cook, offer it to me, then only you eat it. If you are simply eating it, still you will get some karma. You cannot escape from the karma because you are doing some violence. Of course, it is much better than killing an animal and eating it, but still there will be some karma. But when you offer it to Lord, because the nature of the world, the law of the world is one living entity is the food of the other living entity. That is the law of the world. That Krishna has designed like this. God has designed. Now you may question why it is like that. Because we wanted to enjoy. So there is a whole understanding that why Lord creates this material world. Why at all? So that's where, we have these teeth, canine teeth. You see, all the carnivorous carnivorous animals, the teeth are like this, bigger. Dracula, if you are Dracula, we may have like this teeth, something like that. So you see, lion, tiger, all these meat eaters, wolf. But those who are vegetarians like cow or deers, they don't have canine teeth. They don't have because they are not made to eat they are not made to eat the meat. Because you want to crush the meat, so you need to have a bigger teeth, right? To first open it. Then you have the size of intestine. Our intestine size is fairly large. If you see so all these things, we have a book. If you are more interested, you can get it from there, where we have very systematically analyzed, and it's not that we have analyzed. We are not presenting something that we have invented. It is there since ages. Only thing is, we have been misled, misguided because of certain reasons. Some people want to exploit it. They want to treat it as you will be shocked to know, in 1900, only 5% of Indians were eating meat. Only 5%. And this is not my statistics. You can Google this, Government of India says like this. Indians' primary diet was grains and vegetables, not meat. It's only all these MNCs are coming, Subway. In fact, till 1990s, till the point this economic liberalization started. Once this economic liberalization started, then only all these people like McDonald's, KFCs, Subways, all these people started coming, and they see us not as human beings. They see us as consumers. They see us as their customers. So they started all this, Sunday ho ya Monday, रोज खाओ अंडे, भले ही बड़े यमराज के डंडे, but still रोज खाओ अंडे. All these things they only started. These were not slogan. Our primary diet was vegetable because we are cultured human beings. Indians are so in places like Middle East or where there is no option. Yes, God. So it's not that non-veg is not mentioned in the Vedas. Okay. There is a provision for that as well. Like I said, Vedas are mothers. So a mother will never leave a child. So they are all encompassing. So there is a process to eat meat in the Vedas also. But if you find that process, you will say that it's better not to eat it. Why am I eating it? It is mentioned, Islam also says like that. Now, you may say, well, Vedas are primarily vegetarians, right? But even Islam says like that. The way halal and haram, that there is a concept of halal and haram there also. What is halal? You know what is halal?
Halal means the right way.
How? What is that way? I tell you. You have to cut animal at a particular place near masjid. That is the first condition. Then you have to cut so there's one vein of an animal which you have to cut, and there's excessive bleeding of that animal, and the animal will die because of the bleeding, not because of the pain. See how Prophet Muhammad was, I mean, he was preaching to people who are daily eating meat. So what he can do? When he says that, well, stop eating meat, they will say, you go away. We don't want to follow you, right? So you have to preach the message of God based on the level of the audience, right? So those who are daily eating it, you say, well, you stop eating meat. They will not be able to do it. Gradually he brought it. So he is killing the animal at the same time not giving pain. So the law of the world is every action has equal and opposite reaction. So you are giving pain to somebody, naturally it will come to you. You just cannot escape. You may escape state laws, country laws, but you cannot escape God's law. It has to come to you. Right? That way the pain part he removed. So you cut some vein and that excessive bleeding will happen, the animal will die. So he dies a painless death. It's not I'm saying, you can Google, all these Maulvis and Maulana are saying in their lectures like this. So that is the second step. First you cut near masjid, so you cannot have slaughterhouses. You cannot have an industry of it. It cannot be an organized industrial killing. You have to have it near masjid and you have to kill him in a particular way. Okay. After that, you have to cut it into 7 pieces, and then out of the 7 pieces, 6 pieces you have to donate to others, and 1 piece you can eat. That is halal.
That is also bad for
So, see, wherever there is restriction, that means that activity is not encouraged, right? Like government gives licenses to liquor people. That means it doesn't want that it should be sold in a free public, gali nukkad pe, chai ke jaisa. Okay, there are some people who want to drink. They will anyway drink it. Okay, so there is a license, a shop holder, you go there, collect it, drink it. That was a license. So whenever there is restriction, that means that activity is not encouraged. But what to do? People are so accustomed, so conditioned, they cannot leave that thing at once. Okay, so gradually you stop it, like that. So in Vedas also there is a concept of, those who are interested in meeting it, they worship Kali. So on the day of Amavasya, you kill an animal in a particular way. Again, there is also a concept of painless killing. You cut it, you offered it to Kali, although Kali is not interested, by the way. Kali is actually expansion of Parvati, who is the wife of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva is who? Vaishnavanam Yatha Shampu. He is topmost devotee of Lord. Whenever Lord comes, the topmost servant is Lord Shiva. In Ram Leela, Hanumanji. In Krishna Leela also, you have Gopeshwar, Mahadev, and many other pastimes are there. And his wife, how she can be a non-vegetarian? But then she takes that role. Okay, there are some conditions. So, who want to eat it? What can I do? Okay, at least you offer it to me. So, it will be karma free. Like that. So, and like that, there are some demigods also. Local, in tribal areas, there are some demigods. Okay, because, tribal for them, the nature is God. Okay, so nature is God, so you offer it to this deity. And then only you eat it. Like that. There again, there is a concept of restriction. So nowhere, no religion agrees to the organized industrial killing of animals, because they are also children of God. How can you have a peace in the society? See, can you have a peace in a family by disturbing one member of the family? It's just not possible. Similarly, every living being is a part of God's family. So, if we are disturbing others, how can we be peaceful? Like that. So, this meat and all is counted as a tamasic food in Vedas. And the result of this is also described in the Vedas. That you eat it, you will be more violent. You will be more violent. And violence, will it bring happiness? It's just not possible. Yeah, violence sometimes is needed. Like Krishna is, here Arjuna is saying, I'll be peaceful. No, Krishna says, you have to be violent, you have to kill these people. Like, doctor. He also has to cut the body, but he is cutting the body for a purpose to cure that person. He is not cutting the body to murder. So there is it depends violence how it is used. So we are not proponents of non-violence. So there was a famous politician in India who used Bhagavad Gita to talk of ahimsa. But the Bhagavad Gita was spoken to do hinsa. But then ahimsa paramo dharma, that is that. And then the second part is, for the purpose of religion, hinsa is required sometimes. So we are not propagator of hinsa, but there are some people, लातों के भूत बातों से नहीं मानते. What you can do? For them you have to do hinsa. But in general, hinsa is avoided. like that. But if you are excessively non-vegetarian, that's what will happen. People will become more selfish. People will become, more violent. So violent doesn't means, the biggest violence you do is you yourself take away from your natural position. We talk of human rights, human right violation. What is the basic human right? The basic human right is every human being should be given facility to understand that he is not this body, he is spirit soul, and there is God, and to whom he should surrender without the so-called, religious boundaries. That is the basic human right. We as a human, that is our right, but that is still stolen away by making us work hard 14 hours, 12 hours in a company, and the then you pay taxes and all that, all thing is taken away. We hardly have time to focus on God. That is the basic violation, and that is the greatest hinsa that has been done. To take one's opportunity to understand that he is Atma and he is servant of God. That's the biggest hinsa. And then lower way you can go on expanding it to various other definitions like that. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other question?
Very simple question.
Yeah.
Just like court has given sentence to some person in the same birth, why can't God give some kind of punishment in the same birth? Because then he can also realize and the other people also realize that. But with the next birth, if the some children gets the punishment, then his mother will suffer and family suffer. And how
Yeah.
can we know that it is a punishment of the earlier birth?
Yeah, so very good question. So first thing is first, this concept or this concept of when, like, it is for us, like if somebody is in pain, we cannot say अरे उसका कर्मा है, let him suffer. Not like that. It's not for others. It is for us to realize when we get some disease, when we get some problem, we should realize that ये हमारा कुछ past, हमने कुछ गलत किया जिसका मेरे को सजा मिल रहा है. But if other person is in pain or in suffering, it is our duty to help them. That time you cannot use this philosophy, अरे उसका कर्मा है, let him suffer. It's not. Vedas very strictly talk about it. This is for one own self, this philosophy. You cannot apply it for others. Similarly, after that, now this concept of karma, it's not that people don't get punishment in this lifetime. There are many people who get punishment of their bad activities in this lifetime only. But there is a quota of suffering in one lifetime. You cannot bear, like, one may say, well, why don't I remember my previous life? At least I should remember that for what I am getting this punishment, right? But God gives you that forgetfulness. Mattah smritir jnana paponam. Krishna says in 8th chapter that I give that forgetfulness. Imagine, see, in Vedas it is mentioned that when one dies, what is the experience? Have you experienced scorpion bite? At least you must have heard how painful it is. Very painful. Scorpion bite is very, very painful. Bhaura, that bumblebee, sometimes it stings. How painful it is. Once I had, this ear had become like this. 2-3 days I had to, just take off my school and, it's very painful. That is just bumble sting. Imagine the scorpion, how it must be painful. Vedas say when one dies, the pain that one experiences during the time of death is as good as 40,000 scorpion biting one at a time. Imagine, if you remember that pain, what will be your condition? You will be always in depression. So that's why God takes that memory from you. Okay, now in this lifetime, okay, you have been given you have done some good karma, some bad karma. So based on that, you do this. So it is mentioned that this body is not.
Sorry to interrupt, but what about those who die peacefully, like while sleeping? I don't
They
think
must have done some good activity because of externally you are seeing that they are. When Vedas talk about you are feeling that 40,000 bite, it's not that physically you are feeling that pain. So we have this gross body: earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then this is called as Sthula Sharir, and then there is Sukshma Sharir. Sukshma Sharir means your subtle body. So mind, intelligence and ego. So everybody has their mind, everybody has their intelligence, everybody has their ego. That is a subtle body. And so it's like I have this jacket, and then inside I have wear a banyan. So banyan is like subtle body, and this jacket is like a gross body, sthula sharira. So that pain is experienced in that mind, not physically. Sometimes if somebody is that disease, he may experience the pain physically also, but that pain, when Vedas are talking, it's about the mind. Mentally you are so agonized. I worked hard, accomplished so much in my life, and had so many properties, so much of bank balance. Now everything is taken away. I just can't have anything. For what I told so hard in the entire life for my 70, 80 years. It's very painful. See, you lose your mobile sometimes. What pain you experience, right? Maybe your iPhone, sometimes you lose. What pain you experience? It's not about one iPhone. All your riches, all your possessions are taken away, including your family members, the loved ones. Imagine what kind of pain you must feel. So when they say that is a pain, it is that pain. So even if somebody is dying, sleeping way, okay, externally they may not be that pain, but the soul does experience that pain through mind. So it is the pain of the soul, not of the body. Right? Somebody, some bomb blast happened, they die instantly. But still, so that's why there is a concept of in Abrahamic religion, there is a concept of burying the body. And in our religion, in Indic religion, there is a concept of burning body. So why the body is burnt? Because actually when one dies, no soul is running around. Arey, why they are crying? I am still there. The soul shouts, Arey, Papa, I am there. It's here. But it's other realm. Nobody can hear that. So soul, unless that body is burnt, soul is not able to convince that, Arey, I am no more. Once that body is burnt, then the soul is convinced, Arey, khatam, finish now. Then, oh, I am finished. Then soul realizes. Sometimes soul doesn't even realize that I am dead. It just goes out and, Arey, what happened? Sometimes people die, instantly, some accident or something. Arey, what happened? I am still alive. Why people are crying around me? I am just sleeping. They can wake me up. Soul cries like this. And then when the body is born and it sees, oh, finish. Then Yamadutas come, take you. They give to the Yamaras, there is a whole list. What you have done, what is your punishment. So there you are given a particular body. So you are saying, no, why we are not given all the punishment? Because this body is not suitable. So it's very interesting concept Vedas talk about, that this body is just fit for God realization. It is not fit for proper, full enjoyment also and full suffering also. Like, just for example, you may be liking Rasgulla. Rasgulla, everybody will like. I'll give you 1 Rasgulla, 2 Rasgulla, 10 Rasgulla. If I give you 100 Rasgulla, can you eat? It's not possible because body is not meant for this. Our body is supposed to enjoy very limited things. Similarly, the suffering. So our body, the punishment in the 5th canto, this, if you read, there is a description of 29 hellish planetary systems. Not only planets, planetary systems. So there are, like, to such an extent that when a guest comes in your house as a family member, if you don't greet him in a warm way, there is a hell for you waiting. To such extent sinful activities are there. तो कितना सफर करोगे आप ये बॉडी में, कितना punishment bear करोगे. So in hell you are given a particular type of a body where you will feel the same pain, but you will not die because that body is like that. It's like there is some. You must have seen some pictures. You are thrown in a fire or in a boiling oil. In this body, instantly you will die. But there you will not die. But the amount of pain you will experience will be the same like this body. That kind of body will be given to you. और उससे भी exhaust नहीं होगा तो okay, next life, some quota is remaining. Next life you exhaust it. So God has done this for our benefit only. If you remember, what bad things we have done, we will die of depression. क्या crime we have done. If you remember all these things, sometimes we might be a frog. We have been eaten by a snake. Imagine. Sometimes in a dream we are thinking that some snake is chasing or some tiger is chasing. We start perspiring and we are क्या हो गया like that. Imagine when it is reality, how you will feel. So for our good only God has given us this forgetfulness. Okay, थोड़ा बहुत जो कोटा बाकी है, you realize if you are in, so this is not to be in depression. It's actually okay. I might have done some bad activity. That is getting exhausted. I'm getting this suffering.
But if we remember what we did wrong and because of which we have suffered in our last Like, don't you think we'll be like more this thing, more conscious of our activities and do good things in this life only?
Yes, for being conscious only this philosophy is given that okay there is some
Like what
there
happens is like if like there is a review happens, okay, like if you talk about job,
yeah
so they tell us that you this is the area where you lagged and this is the area like you made a mistake.
yeah
So that review is the purpose of that review is that you remember that you made a mistake and so that you don't repeat it in future. Similar, like if we remember our past life and we remember that this is the things are which we did and this is the suffering which I got in that life or
yeah
in the coming life. So that person will be like that. This teaching is actually like you should not be doing this. So if we have that learning of our past life, will people not be repeating those mistakes?
no they'll be more in
They'll be
depression.
more.
See, they'll be more in depression. See, you must be getting some karmic reaction. अगर कुछ गलत है, if there is something wrong, that means you have done something wrong in previous life, right? Sometimes when we commit some mistake here, in this lifetime, still we have that guilt feeling, right? Why I did this? Why I did this? Why I did this? Is it not? Do you have that feeling?
Yes.
By some accident or by some previous bad habits, we end up doing some things which we feel is not good. But do we not have guilt of that? We have the guilt. Imagine this is just one lifetime of guilt. If you have a guilt of 100 lifetimes, what will be your condition? Will you not be in a depression?
Slowly and gradually will not be like.
No, you will not be able to face that. So, okay, you have done some bad activity that you forget. You are getting some reaction. Just be grateful to God that yes, I must have done some bad thing. Because of that, I am suffering. But now this lifetime, I will be doing good, no matter what is happening to me. Even if I am physically, may not be challenging. I have seen there are many devotees who are physically, they are having leprosy or anything, but they are constantly engaged in service of the Lord. Because I might have done whatever in my life. God may want to remember you or may not want to remember you, but He's punishing me to exhaust that karma. But I will be doing good so that my future lives are secured. Like that. You getting the point?
Sir, in Karma Yoga also there is as you karma, then your result is good. If good karma, good result.
Yes.
Bad karma, bad result.
So Krishna says you don't do any karma. At the end of Bhagavad Gita is Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Isha. You just forget about this karma calculation. क्या अच्छा है क्या बुरा है. You just do my bhakti. So there is karma, vikarma. Karma is good thing. Vikarma is bad activity. Akarma is although you are in this world but you are not of this world. Jesus Christ said you have to be in this world but not of this world. That's how. Because when you are performing bhakti, like see, we are also eating vegetarian diet. There are vegetarians, vegans also, but still they are doing karma because they are killing plants. So that karma has to come. But when it is offered to Krishna, now what we can eat? You have made us to eat vegetables and plants. We are eating that, but then we don't want to get this karma, so we are offering it to you. You take care of the karma. You bless us. Then So what we eating is prasad. It's prasad. Krishna takes it. He takes all the karma and okay, now you eat it. That's where even if you want to non-veg, you have to offer it to Kali. Then only you have to eat it. At least she takes care of that karma. So you are removed like that from heinous sinful activities like that. Yes. All the questions solved.
Questions are so much. But right
You
now-
keep coming. These classes are happening every day, evening. So you keep coming, and actually that is I said no. That's our basic human right to understand who we are, what is our relationship with God, and how we can revive it. That is everybody's birthright. Nobody can take it away. But people, because of their profits, because of their business, they are simply letting us away from this basic human right. Now, you will not find dogs coming and sitting, well, who is God? Or cats or tigers coming. Only human beings can do this. Only human beings can do this. In fact, it is mentioned in Swargaloka, there is so much enjoyment. So, Krishna says, that's what he's saying, the flowery language of the Vedas. You don't have to go to heaven. Itna sense enjoyment is there. You will not be able to chant. You sit and chant, there will be some Apsara coming and dancing in front of you. You will not be able to concentrate. And in hell, there is so much suffering that you cannot do sadhana. Extreme है, heaven में extreme enjoyment, हेल में एक्सट्रीम सफरिंग. ये अर्थली जो मिडिल प्लानिटरी सिस्टम है ना भूवर लोक का, so we have all this Vedic planetary system which we are constructing. There is a place called Mayapur, 3 hours drive from Calcutta, where we'll be giving all the planetary system as per Veda system. What is mentioned in the Vedas is fifth canto of the Bhagavatam. This our earthly planet comes in this in between. ज़्यादा suffering नहीं, ज़्यादा enjoyment नहीं. Is it our body not created like that? थोड़ा enjoyment, थोड़ा suffering. That's what we can handle. We cannot handle extreme suffering also. We cannot handle extreme enjoyment also. तो फिर extreme क्या करना है हमको? Focus on अथातो ब्रह्म जिज्ञासा. You have got this human form of life. You utilize your time. Yes, for sustenance of the body, it is required. See, imagine when these industries were not there. I remember my great grandfathers and fathers. They would work 4 months a year. That's all. Rest 12 months, simply enjoy. What? During the rainy seasons, they will have the crops, and of course during this 2 months there and 2 months during November and December, that this millets will come. So they have to cultivate the millets. Enough, and you have cow, by which milk will come. Prabhupada used to say, with milk and sugar, you can create 200 different varieties of foodstuff. Just with milk and sugar. What else we need as human beings? There is abundant of fruits, vegetables, grains, milk, sweets. What else is needed? We have only complicated this our life. Now imagine they were working 4 months a year, rest months they were enjoying. They were having nice time, playing around. At least we Indians, I don't know our future generation will have this because they are seeing us only. But at least we have seen our grandfathers and they were not more happy than us. Do you believe? They were more peaceful, they were more blissful than us. Although they may not have that possessions, they may not have this 5G, 4G, 3G, 2G, whatever it is, but they were more happy, they were more blissful. Why? Because they don't have to strive that hard. We have simply made our life complicated, and we are suffering like that. So I hope, thank you all very much for your patient hearing and wonderful questions.
I am reading Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
I started in 2020 when was lockdown.
COVID.
Mother
Yeah.
forces me to read Bhagavad Gita. You will much more understanding on like that.
Actually, somewhere I feel COVID was a great blessing. People actually started realizing that yes, there is some higher power. We just can't control everything. And it's our data. We are maintaining every Sunday. We have this Sunday feast festival. So after COVID lockdowns and all, our attendance has increased fourfold. Because Sunday feast we offer foodstuffs and we give to people who come on Sunday mornings and attend Bhagavatam. So we have to give 4 times more because people have become more God conscious that way. People simply were blind and they were simply living their life. The COVID has come. Oh, sometimes some slap is needed for us to realize, "Arey baapre, there is something which we just can't control." And people, for good, they have started taking interest in spirituality, in service of God, like that.
तो फर्स्ट टाइम मैंने भगवद गीता पढ़ा था कोविड के टाइम. तो मुझे ऐसे ऐसे कुछ मतलब समझ में आया थोड़ा थोड़ा. मुझे इंटरेस्ट वहाँ से चढ़ने लगा भगवद गीता में. तो मैं पढ़ता गया. मुझे इतना इंटरेस्ट आता गया कि क्यूरियोसिटी बढ़ती गई भगवद गीता में. और लेकिन अभी भी भगवद गीता पढ़ता हूँ तो कुछ चैप्टर्स ऐसे मुझे समझ में नहीं आते, जैसे कि अक्षय ब्रह्म योग.
मैं ये 20 साल से पढ़ रहा हूँ, मुझे भी अभी तक कुछ समझ में नहीं आया. बट आई हैव फेथ दैट God is there in my heart. He will guide. When whatever is required for me, that much knowledge is given. If I'm not understanding, I have my seniors whom I contact, and I get realization from. So that's how it happens. You practice. You start doing your sadhana. You get doubts. You consult your seniors. They will guide you like that. How much time Gita was spoken? 45 minutes.
45 minutes spoken.
That's all. Yeah. So in Gita, there's a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, right? And entire Gita was finished in 45 minutes. Arjuna understood it. Arjuna at the end of Gita says, "Karishye vachanam tava." Now all my lamentation, hankerings have gone. Karishye vachanam tava. I will do whatever you say. But we take one lifetime also not to understand. That's difference between us and Arjuna. Arjuna is God's parshad.
एक चैप्टर अच्छा समझ में आया कर्मयोग.
You keep coming to these daily classes. You will start realizing more and more realization.
So basically, like I find this like more often, but was a complicated lecture when I read. Like I am a very beginner. So like if you can suggest some book where it is like in simple form, like in Buddhism they say eightfold path.
Yeah, yeah.
गलत मत करो, चीटिंग
Yeah, so-
मत करो. Simple अगर उससे है कि ये पढ़ लो.
So
I
we-
follow
yeah.
things.
Srila Prabhupada has written small books like Science of Self-Realization, Science of Self-Realization. It must be available here. And then Path of Perfection, The Topmost Yoga, Coming Back. So Prabhupada, like coming back, no, he stresses on reincarnation and various aspects of reincarnation like that.
I want like simple guidelines कि आप इस तरह से जियो. Like even I emphasize कि मैं किसी का गलत नहीं करूँ. मेरे एक्शन से किसी को दुख नहीं पहुँचे किसी भी
Correct.
तरीके से.
So we have book like Beginner's Guide in Krishna Consciousness. These books will be there. You can read that, and slowly you can read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. You will get more knowledge. You get more refined in your sadhana. You can start with smaller books. You can go through. You can guide it. We can stop the recording. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Hare
We
Krishna.
wish it can go on and on.
Yeah. So tomorrow you can come.